Hi guys, morning again. Apologies um, for the error that occurred. Seem to be having a bit of an issue with the internet connection, so trying by all means to get that sorted out. So it's just a technical error. All right, guys, welcome to my show, if I should call it a show. This program called My Observation. Basically, we are just talking about the things that we observe, on a macro level, then just try to break it down to a micro level so that we can make sense of the things happening. So basically, normally we tackle social issues, that confront our daily lives, our communities, and the nation at large. So we're currently doing a series called How a Woman Should Interview a Man. So this is a series that is dedicated to the Women's Month since we're in August. So it's a way to have a helping hand, lend a hand into mitigating some of the issues we have in our communities, and issues that women basically have, that are written about all over the papers, mainly in the context of South Africa here, GBV. And I find that when they talk about GBV, it mainly leans, towards the abuse of women, which is the common thing, whether you look at it, is the common thing reported on mainstream media, So we are just trying to get solutions, into these problems, on how we can solve them on a molecular level. So because I believe that if you can solve an issue while it's still a challenge, you have a better chance of avoiding problems, because problems tend to be more of a permanent state. It's too big, it's there, it's permanent, it's like ink on a white shirt. It's very hard to get out to remove it. So we don't want to get to that point where there's a stain on the white shirt. So one of the issues that we see, obviously, since we're talking about how women should be interviewing men, the romantic relationships that women experience, because on these social media platforms, particularly I'm gonna talk based on the context of South Africa. We've got phenomena, as I've stated in our previous episodes, such as people are complaining Umjolo is doing the things, you see. So we are just trying to build the family. I think that's what we're trying to do. So obviously a family comprises of, or let me just put it like this, because now we live again in a very secular and a liberal environment. So I'm gonna be specific to what I'm talking about. So I'm talking about natural families, between a male and a female. That is who I am talking to. That is what I am talking to. This is the issue that I am tackling. The natural family consisting of a man and a woman in a relationship. How do they get started, how do they take the journey, how do they go the whole way, you know. We are just trying to encapsulate an idea, you know. Part of what I'm doing with you now, talking to you, this is not my words are not the end of it all, you know. It's just an exploration of some ideas that I've had in my head, my experiences in my own marriage, you know, and just trying to relay some of the successes that I've had, because I believe there's a reason that I've been married for 8 years. So, and I got married at a fairly young age. So I would like to inspire the spirit of marriage into young people, because in order to influence the future, you know, you got to start with the present, and the present you have to work on it consistently, because the present disappears as quickly as it comes. So it's just a constant battle that we are just trying to, you know, get around and get over. So we know that everything in society at large, on whether you're talking about the nation or the world, is in its entirety. The first institution is the family. So you get that right when you escalate to higher levels, you know, from family to community, then to the national level, then ultimately you are on a global scale. So we are just trying to deal with the nitty-gritties, and by that is trying to help women to get the right partners. Not perfect, because perfection in its way, in its entirety, perfection is death. So trying to achieve perfection is futile, because if something is perfect, that means, you know, there's no work on it, you know. Part of what makes relationships interesting is that the people in it are not perfect. So when you understand that perfection in the context of our environment and the lives that we live, perfection cannot exist, and it doesn't exist. Do you understand? The reason that I think perfection does not exist is by intention, because if everything is perfect, then you have this monotonous, you know, kind of situation or life which has no highs, which has no lows. It's just constant. So it cannot make you a better person, because you cannot be better than perfect. So your ability to rise beyond yourself has been achieved. So what do you live for? So the relationships that we get into, the parties that get into them are not perfect, and that's not something to be looked down on. It's actually, you know, it's actually a good thing, because you get to explore, you know, the other person, because part of coming together as a couple is to balance each other out, because we all have different strengths and we all have weaknesses. So I may be weaker in some areas that my wife is strong at. So her strength mitigates my weaknesses. You understand? So, and vice versa. So, and two heads are better than one. So you're actually going and heading out into life knowing and understanding that you are not at it alone. It's much like having a business. You cannot do everything by yourself. You need help. You need people in different departments. You need people in the marketing team. You need people in sales. You need people in the HR. You need a CEO. You need all types of people in different positions so that the entity may function and become stronger than it could be if you are by yourself, because by yourself you can only grow to a certain level, but functioning inside of an entity makes you understand that there is something that you are building, and you cannot build beyond yourself. Now let me explain what I mean. For your business to be sustainable and constant in growth, that means that you, as the head of the business, must constantly be putting measures in place to make sure that you grow your mental capacity, your capabilities, explore new ways to think about things, how you gonna grow your company, how could you impact your maybe customer services, how you can make it better than yesterday, so it is the same sort of mechanism that you bring inside of a relationship. So what I'm just trying to say is that you must think of a relationship much like you think about a business, because at the end of the day it is a legal entity. There are documentations involved. Obviously you go to the Home Affairs and you sign that you are married, whether it's in corp or whatever the conditions of the marriage is. But at the end of the day, it is an entity that functions based on the level of capabilities of the two individuals in it. So the relationship obviously cannot grow beyond you. So you are your relationship. Whatever level of intellect you possess, you bring into a relationship. Whatever amount of ignorance you are exposed to, you bring into a relationship. And might I say, nobody, it doesn't matter how smart you are, nobody is safe from ignorance. That is guaranteed. So this is why every day should be a learning curve, so that you may know what you didn't know yesterday. That is part of your endeavor to have capability of problem solving, because that is one skill that is always needed and necessary inside of a relationship. The ability to solve issues. Pardon me. And I don't like to use the word issues in this instance. Let me stick to the word challenges, because I feel a challenge is something that is within reach, that you can still do something about. It's not in a permanent position, or in a it's not, yes, it's not, it's not in a permanent state. So you can you can develop mechanism to overcome, you know, challenges while they are still, you know, in their tender stage, you know, because challenges, you know, I think I break them down. I break the three stages of challenges. I break challenges into three categories. Because of a lack of a better word, I'm using challenge, but it's challenge, it's issue, then it's a problem. And as I said, a problem is a permanent stage. So now what you want to always maintain is a level of challenge, you know, these minute things that always, you know, come up, so that then you always have to mitigate inside a relationship, because obviously you have two people coming together, so there are differences here and there, you know, whether it be the thought pattern or the things that you do on a daily basis that may clash, you know, that you need to find solution to, you know, because these things, small things that clash, that make you guys clash, or if you don't solve them, you know, at a tender stage, they escalate and they grow and they become this cancerous thing that, you know, affects and infects a relationship to a point that you can it cannot be salvaged anymore, you know. So part of the things that I think women should try to think about approaching a man, you know, is understanding how nature somehow is designed, you know. There are questions that women tend to ask, you know, which are valid, you know. One of the common questions is that, you know, why, if a man maybe is promiscuous, you know, he is the man, but if a female is promiscuous, she's a whore, you know. It's a valid question. Do I have the answer to it? No, I don't. Do I have an idea why maybe it is like that? Maybe I do. You know, I like to explore things, not to be right, but to get, you know, people to think about things, you know, so that, you know, people can get to a level where they think for themselves, not gulp everything that they're given, that is given to them through media. So on that note, that question, I feel that, and this is a notion that I gathered when I was looking at some of these red pill podcasts, you know, that, and it is true to an extent, that the reason why we view women in a certain way as a society as a whole, that includes women looking at other women as well, you know, of course, and men, how they view women as well. Society as a whole, that is women and men. Women are placed on a high pedestal because women are born with value. And so part of what retains value, I'm gonna make an example of let's say gold or diamonds, you understand, because obviously of the economical arrangements, gold holds a certain value. Agreed. I won't get into the nitty-gritties of what makes gold valuable inside of the context of economy, but as we know, countries pile up gold, to hedge their economies. This is what has been happening for a very long time. So I'm not gonna get into the economical aspect of it. I think after we're done with the series, this is maybe one of the topics that we could include in our agendas. But anyhow, let's stick to this. So the reason that gold has an inherent value is because of rarity. You understand? So because it is so rare, a certain amount of value is placed on it. So if you want it, you have to pay X amount of money. You're not necessarily paying for the gold as for the gold in its physical form. You are paying for the idea that this thing is valuable. You understand it? So for me to have value, I must, pay a certain amount of money. Do you understand? Which will guarantee that my money takes on a certain type of value. Do you understand? So a woman does not need, so a woman decides who sleeps with her. So she is a gatekeeper. So she's got this valuable thing that is often, the reason guys want to engage, because guys want to engage for different types of reasons. They want to sleep with you, they want something of value that comes from you. They want something from you. Do you understand? Now, because a woman is, this is why there are phrases such as know your worth, and we get them a lot from women. It is the narrative that is pushed a lot. If you listen to women, I know my worth, I cannot be with a man, who is less than who is less than 6 feet, who earns an X amount of money, drives a certain car, who is, because inherently you understand that you possess a certain level of value. You understand? So for somebody to access your value, they must possess a certain level of value that they can bring in exchange, so that they can experience your value as a woman. I don't know if I'm coming across. So the reason why society deems a woman who sleeps around as a whore is because we see a person who does not recognize her value. Because if something is of value, like I like watches, I love watches, I have watches that I keep or I store differently to the ones that I maybe wear every day. Do you understand? So because I value certain this other watch of mine, when I store it, I make sure that it is well covered, it is not exposed. I make sure that whatever it takes, I retain the look, how it looks. So for me to retain how it looks, I must take extra care of it by taking these extra precautionary measures to make sure that I maintain the value. I don't want scratches, I don't want chips, I know, so I make sure that I take care of it, so that it can serve me for a very, very long time. Do you understand me? So when a woman lets every man have a right, it says to us as the public that this person does not value themselves. I know that it is encouraged for women to sleep around because they have to explore their sexuality and all those things, but as we know, and now I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna take it up a notch, because now I am talking on a deeper level, because I think everybody has gotten exposed, to information about sex, the chemistry, what happens in sex, the different kinds of energies that connect, that exchange, that meet, and all those things. So the spiritual part of it, what you're exposed to, so we want to see that you are a person that really values, emotional stability, because part of the things, and this is scientifically proven, you can look it up by all means, you take on the character of people by means of DNA. You take up on character of people that you exchange energies with. What more when you have sex with them? Do you understand? So the more people or that you sleep with, the more characteristics that are imprinted in your DNA, so at some point, to a level, you're gonna be affected psychologically, because sometimes you are not yourself. The logic is, if these people are intertwined with you, that means part of them is left with you. Do you understand? And DNA is something that is live, so that means they are alive. A portion of them is live in you. So one way or the other, the characters come out, through your actions. So the consensus is that you are not taking care of yourself. You don't value yourself. This is why you avail yourself to everyone. So if you took time to see value in yourself, you would actually see it necessary for you, to keep yourself for somebody who is worthy. So that means somebody who comes to you must have built a certain level of credibility for you to accept them in your life, because you understand your value. Obviously, you're not saying don't be delusional about it. I mean, we hear so many, preposterous things on the internet. The high expectation that women have that even their own fathers couldn't meet, So I think on a moderate level we should think of things, I don't know, I don't have the right ways to put it, but we should think of things rationally. Yes. So because remember, a woman is born with value. A man has to build his value. This is why a lot of guys are single, because women view them in a certain lens and conclude that I cannot be with this guy because he hasn't built himself to be a certain man. So with us, the value is not inherent. It is built over time. We have to work on ourselves to show ourselves as men, so that we can be appealing into the dating scene. Because if you have not built yourself up as a man to a certain level that a woman would want to even find you sexually attractive, you will not participate in the dating game, if it's a game, whatever it's called. You will not have a chance with the type of woman that you want as a man, the ideal woman. So for us, if you want to become a certain type, or you want a certain type of a woman, you have to build yourself up in a certain type of way to appeal to this type of woman that you want. So this is the difference between us as men and you as women. You understand? So now, because I've spent all this time building up myself to be worth something, I need a woman who sees a value in herself, much to a point that she has put in the work by making sure that she retains her value. Because part of the things that men don't want, and I'm not talking about, there's this notion going around about men, these other men, I don't know, I'm talking about men in general. I'm not talking about a few men, because exceptions don't override the rule. So the exception is that there are men who don't care how many men a woman has slept with. They just want it now. They're in the picture, so the other guys that she has slept with, it doesn't matter. He's in the picture, and it is listen. The only way we can be able to see if the only way I'm able to see if my wife cares about herself is by examining her history of relationships. So I look at, how many men have you allowed to get inside of you, if at all? Because I must know what I'm dealing with as a man. Because now, when she has had multiple sexual partners, for instance, That means she has a certain level of experience, that puts me in danger, because now, amongst those 20 guys that you claim to have, you tell me that there's a woman that because I'm expressing my sexuality. Those 20 guys, I must compete sexually with those 20 guys. And this is the reality. I'm not talking about, some woo-woo myths. So this is the reality. You are always going to compare, because Thabiso was better than Sibusiso. And Thabiso might have been sizable and Sibusiso might have been miniature. I'm just saying. So there is that level of, so now coming Bitumelo Wakela happen now, she is still torn, she still have that experience. Now let me compare this one who's coming in compared to those other ones, and if it doesn't satisfy me, yes, I love him, but you know what, the minute I come across Thabiso, there is that experience and that energy that has always existed, that is always in my memory bank as a woman. So part of guys not wanting a woman, and I'm talking about men in general, who's got a high body count, is because sex comes with memories that I think a lot of women, if they were given a choice, they wouldn't have slept with all those guys. There are deep regrets, because I talk with women, some women on a daily basis. I have a wife, so I think I understand how women, to an extent, feel about sex, how intimate it is to them, because having sex with someone is actually giving a part of yourself away that you can never get back. It doesn't really matter how you want to think of, you'll never get it back. So a woman being born with value, her challenge in life is to retain it. So this is why on the previous episodes I was emphasizing on the value of having fathers in homes, because a father is important in protecting the value of her son or her daughter, of her children. So a father would actually nullify and verify value of a child through wisdom. Baby, how you saw. This is how you engage with a man. This is how not to engage with a man. If you give this much to a man, this is how a man is gonna act. And if you give this much to a man, this is how. So you are actually, help her maneuver through the maze, because obviously she's gonna have challenges. She's a human being, she's gonna have feelings. There's gonna be a boy at school who she likes, but she must be taught how to have that EQ that we speak of, emotional intelligence, because if emotional intelligence is not handled properly, Why do we have prostitutes today? Why do we have shows like that one on Showmax, This Body Works For Me? The If you look at the background of these women, most of them, there's an absence of fathers in their lives. So there is an area that the mother couldn't cover, because the mother can only be a mother to a child. She cannot be a father to a child. There is a certain level of, I don't know what to call it, but the bottom line is that a mother cannot be what a father is. If you do your research properly and go to these government websites, I think I was looking at some website. It was in the American government website, something like that. No, it was not that. But I was reading an article. In my next program, I will come with straight facts. But I was reading something to an extent that a child who is raised by a single mother, they don't always, the likelihood of them turning out well like a child who is raised in a two-parent household, the success rate is very low. But a child who's being raised by a single father, the success rate is on par with a child who's raised in a two-parent household. That is not me. Go look it up for now until I come back with correct references. So this will just show you the importance of, fathers, because as I stipulated and stated in the previous episode, a father is a foundation. That is what father literally means. It means foundation. It means the one who sustains what he has created, the one that provides the gene, progenitor, the one who protects, the one who cultivates. All these things you find inside of fatherhood. So absent of fatherhood, you have less of, because foundations are built on principles. So men are more principle driven. Not that women are not, but I'm talking about the psyche and the wiring. So if it does not make sense, or if it does not align with principles, why do it? This is the logic behind the wiring of the majority of men. I'm not talking about the minority of the loud voices. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I am talking about the majority. Exceptions do not override the rule. So when I make an analysis and a thesis, is based on the majority in a general understanding inside of a group, the general consensus. So these are the things that I think women should be cognizant of when, again, looking for a life partner. should look at for people who, you know, who possess a very strong conviction of morality and a strong sense of I don't know, the reasoning leans to principles, because when a man is not principled, he tends to, he is not a solid thinker, because principles by nature, they are solid. That's what makes them a foundation. So a principled man would actually lead a relationship more effectively than a person who does not have any iota of principles. So it is very important for a woman to look for a man who is very principled, and part of the part of the traits that principled people have, they have convictions that they won't bend for no one, because convictions is based, how you live is based on your convictions. So you want to find out what are his convictions, because obviously everybody has convictions, but are they well informed? Are they well researched? Are they well thought of? You understand? So if a person is a person who does not have something they will die for, they will settle for anything, because where the wind blows they will go. So that is a very dangerous type of man, because when things get hard, the first thing that you're gonna see, the man is gonna preserve himself first. The man, a man who does not have principles will come into your life, take and leave you like that and be gone and move on to the next. This is why you have women say, I did everything for him. I was this and this for him. I even let him drive my car, but yet that was not enough. Yes, because he's not principled. He is not principled. He does not understand himself as a man. Never mind you as a woman, your value. Because you must also be aware that we are still, to a certain extent, in a cultural field, especially us as women, where to an extent women to some cultures are still seen as lesser than men. So that ideology lurks somewhere deep in the subconscious. Even by the way some men will talk to you, you can still feel that, I don't know, that that teaching, it's still very much alive. So at the back of, not that it is remember, I'm saying to you, it's lurking deep inside the subconscious, because of history. So somewhere at the back of the mind, the man is unconsciously taught that the man is lesser than a woman. Facts. So the discipline thing for a man would understand that a woman is a man that can carry a fetus. Both of us are men, by the way. That's why this one is male, that one is male with a fee. So the fee means fetus. It means this male can carry a fetus. This is why you are a womb man. You have a womb man. You're still a man, but you have a womb. That means you are able to carry a fetus. That's the differentiation. So we are, as humans, we are equal. We are not better than the other. We just have differences, in how we are designed. Obviously there's this notion that a woman can do whatever a man can do. No, it cannot happen that way. Physically, biology 1-on-1, it denies you cannot. This is why you have Serena Williams, who ranks number 1, playing with a male who is ranked maybe, I think, around 200th in the world, something like that. And that guy who's ranked, he's not even in the top 100. He beat Serena Williams, who is top 1 female. So the differences are evident. So it's just this new type of, I don't know, liberalism that men are women, women are men, men are can do what women. Listen, we are different in how we do things. Like, there's a difference when, let's say, I'm in the house, I try to maybe tidy up, but when my wife tidies up, it's gonna be very different too. These are things that, I don't know, they are deeply inculcated inside of our genes that you can't even explain it. You can see if a woman is cleaned, and we can see when a man is dead. Well, at least in my house. So these are the minute differences that, and because we are simple creatures as men, these are the type of things that we appreciate. They say play away with gender roles. A man must cook, he must wash his clothes, and what? Yes, he has hands, he can do it for himself, but listen, if my wife comes home and she's tired, I know she's tired, I would have cooked for her. But now and I'm coming in as a filler. These are not my roles. Listen to me. How would a woman view his wife? And I've asked married women, and the answer is they're not really comfortable. When your man is on his knees scrubbing the floor, that's a very feminine position, because now you understand. Say what you want to say. It's fine. I'm just giving you the real. You know, it's the move. You know, this is why not even some exercises, if you look them up, they are not designed for females. Listen, you can do it as a female, but as a man, I appreciate femininity from my woman. So I want my woman to be looking like a WWE superstar. That's not feminine. That's not. Listen, it's like when a man speaks with a squeaky voice. You know, it's sort of, to an extent, a turn off to a woman. Not all the time. Not like, do you understand? These are not the things that a woman appreciates, or a man who is feminine. Females in general don't want that. They want a manly man, because this man is a protector. Do you understand? So a man who is in a way soft and cannot really possess, you know, maybe a gladiator attitude, or, you know, characteristic. Women in general don't. This is why you have women who. That's why women in general prefer a man who is taller than them. Protection. You know, they want to feel that this person is, you know, it's the same thing. I don't want a tough woman. One of the things that I appreciate about my wife is that, you know, she is soft. She likes womanly stuff. Tough in character at some things, but down that tunnel, she is a woman. Down there, she takes care of herself. Nails. Her body is soft. So me as a man, when I touch her, I need to feel that softness. That is what that is what gonna evoke my masculinity. I don't want to touch a woman and she feels the very same way as I feel as a man. You know, so these gender roles, listen, we don't mind cooking for ourselves, you know, but as Africans, we do understand that, and as men, we do understand that a way to a man's heart, you know, is through cooking for him. We listen. You can try to deny it or all you want, but these are codes that are written that are silent but very powerful. That if you go against it, you tip over the scale. You have an imbalance. Because you want to discuss everything must be a conversation. Let's talk about this. Listen, if women have no gender roles, then women have nothing to do. Why do I say that? Listen, if she has a puncture, women in general have difficulties changing a tire. So now we are talking about gender roles, right? And how they should be abolished. Fine. Now change your own tire. That, you know, Kakung inside of the house, the lid of the I don't know, the peanut butter, she can't even open that. That's how fresh, you know. Open it yourself then. Why do you give it to the man? What are you saying? By giving it to the man, you are telling the man that this is your role. There's a noise outside the yard. Check it out. No, you go check it out. We are equal. There's no roles here. Everybody can just, freelance as they want, do, there are no roles here. So why should I go check outside? You stand up. Don't even wake me up. I'm sleeping. Go outside and check what is happening. No, it can't happen. That is my duty. Because me as a man, I'm a protector. I must protect this family. I must go check out what's going on outside. Why is the dog barking consistently? What's happening outside? I must go. That is me. That is the gender role. So if you want to take away the gender roles, that women must not cook, men must cook. Listen, we don't mind cooking. If I am hungry, what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna starve to death. But my wife doesn't want to cook for me. I must cook for myself. But I must do these other things. Where is the equality in that? So, because even this 50-50 notion is nonsense, because there's no 50-50 relationships. At some point the woman goes the extra mile. At some point the man goes the extra mile. We don't split things like that. This is 50-50, you do this, I do that. No, it doesn't work like that. So women and men, to an extent, they want a woman who understands, because you know what, the corporate environment is tough. So corporate women, the reason why a corporate woman most of the time they won't cook for you, as it is perpetuated, or as you perceive them to be, how they are displayed, that they are not I don't know, they are not women who are in the kitchen looking, they are not that, like they are corporate women. The reason why they won't cook for you is because the environment they are in requires for them to possess male attributes, for them to survive, because that's a male dominated space. So if you're gonna survive in this space, you must be competitive. You cannot be competitive if you don't have a certain level of testosterone. So you're gonna, part of, if you do a scientific analysis of corporate women, you're gonna see them possess a certain a significant level that is higher of maybe they would have more testosterone than what we perceive as normal woman, so the soft woman who is in, I don't know, who works at McDonald's. Because to exist inside of a corporation, you are in a male dominated zone. Males by nature, they are competitive. It is natural to them. So for you to be able to compete at that level, you must you must acquire male attributes and male characteristics. So now, because you have to, now your nature gradually it changes. You have this stoic characters that start showing up. So you have male characters now. So you as a man, but again, now you have male tendencies, and males are not the ones who appreciate cooking all the time there at the pot. No, that's not who we are. We don't mind. We don't mind. You know, and let me not just limit this thing to cooking, washing, doing laundry. No. Being submissive. You sort of have got to. Submissiveness is not it's for you to be submissive. You have to have some level of, I don't know, delicacy. A man will not be. When a woman sees a man leading effectively and efficiently, she has something to be submissive to. She does not even think about it. She doesn't even mind it. And not that it brings her to a disadvantage. No, it's her advantage, because now her being submissive to the man is actually bringing a man to a vulnerable state where he is, I don't know, soft, because only that level of I don't know, softness or can make a man, you know, love a woman. I don't know if I'm coming across like, you know, as I'm thinking in my mind, but the softness of a woman, it brings out the best in a man. Listen, contrary to popular belief, they tend to say to show a man with muscles and like, let's say a strong man. Let me not limit it to muscle. A strong man. They say that is toxic masculinity. No, it's not, because a strong man will protect a woman. Toxic masculinity is when a man is soft. That is toxic, because now he's not masculine anymore. And I'm against the term toxic masculinity, because now you are something that is masculine. Masculinity is not toxic, because the design of masculinity is protection. So now if they defect outside of that, they are not masculine anymore. They are something else. Which is why the background of these people who rape and I don't know, shoot people, kill, there is some level of, I don't know, they are missing something that is manly in them. Because part of being a man is understanding that life is difficult, you make peace with it. And now you try to build yourself up to be a careless, so that even when the difficulties come, you are such a hard careless that all these things, they can come and go, because you know as a man you're gonna outlive them. I think part of the reason why, again, women tend to, they love a man with a story, a man who has overcome something, you know. He's got something that shows his character, you know. So when a man defects from being a man, and becomes this soft human being that the mainstream media encourage them to be, you end up with trouble, because now, listen, it's okay to cry, but do that thing in private. I'm telling you. Because now, if you are weak, listen, you are crying because something is bothering you to an extent that you cannot, because there's nothing you can do about it. That is when you feel helpless, because that is why you cry, essentially, because there's nothing you can do about it. So if there is nothing you can do about something, that means that you are vulnerable to something. Do you understand? And now, in the midst of chaos, those who are under care, who are looking for leadership, are looking for a rock, do you understand, for them to lean on. So now, when this rock is not a rock, is a mud, is mushy and gooey, the mud is gonna affect them, because now it's a mud, it's gonna smear them with its content. So if you're gonna cry, it's okay to cry. Do that in private, so that you are expressing your vulnerability as a man. But you must remember, there are people who are looking for you, who are looking at you for leadership. And if they see you crumbling, what is it gonna do to them? So now, listen, as I said, this is my observation. I am saying these things so that, and talking these things, I am taking a risk, because it might be something that is neglected, and a person who neglects it will obviously voice their views, countering why they think what I'm saying is not true. Then I would have learned something if they put it in a context that maybe he's onto something. But the way I see it is that when you have a community, or when you have a plethora of men who are soft and want to cry in public and whatnot, you must remember that as a man, you are the rock, you are a foundation. So when they see those tears, they see a crack. They don't see they may be saying to you in the public eye, no, he's strong, it's okay to cry, but it is not really helping them. There are experiences that I will share at a later stage when I'm ready to share it, where if I had cried, my wife would not have had the strength to go through those near-death experiences that we had, to go past them. So now, because she did not know how to handle it, and I was the last line of defense to come with a solution. So now she's looking for a solution. I couldn't be crying at that point in time. I couldn't be crying at that point in time. Yes, I was broken. because we are experiencing the very same thing at the very same time. But now, one is a leader in this family, and one is looking for direction because she is falling apart, because she cannot handle this. She's crying. So now, what's gonna happen? I'm looking. Do you understand? And the fact that I was so stoic in my stance in handling the situation, my wife was able to get back to herself because she found strength in me by me not crying, by me actually doing what was happening. I became a source of strength and a leader that stood strong and told her that no, this will be fine. It didn't take long before she stopped crying and actually believed what I said. Until this day, she's fine. Was it a trauma? Yes. But I dealt with it afterwards. Listen, when the situation occurs, you need to deal with it there and then. These other things, they are not important. What important is taking care of this now. This needs to be taken care of now. What is the situation? If I do this, what's going to happen? Assess the situation. So now, what I'm basically saying by sharing all these things to you, ladies, I'm just trying to write in words the kind of men that I've seen hold families down in the most adverse storms. These are the men that listen, they're still alive today. My father is 70 years old. My father has no health issues. I've never seen my father cry. He has no health issues. He's 70 years of age. I've never seen my father cry. And that's something that, has always been a reassuring. Like, especially when I grow up to be a man. Like, I'm like, yeah, that is reassuring. That man is a rock, Has he cried? Sure. Obviously, he's a human being in his own private time. I haven't seen it. Maybe my mother has, but I haven't seen it. He's 70 years of age. He has no health issues. None whatsoever. So this thing of saying, if you don't cry, you bottle things up, then it's going to affect. Listen, my father is 70 years of age. He has no health issues. He doesn't use a stick to walk. He still walks the way. He can still run. He is healthy. And there are many other people I know who are around the same age as my dad. He still has a friend. He still has some friends today who are still alive, who have no health issues and are still married. So these new ideas that are coming from the left of what a man is, how a man should be, they're like, really? Is this what we are teaching our kids? Is this what we are teaching our women to accept as the type of men to lead families? No wonder there's a divorce every week. It's not by accident. Half of all marriages end up in divorce. It's not by accident. Because women are asking themselves, where are the men? So by saying this is how a woman should, I'm giving you all these pointers for you to make an observation of the men that are still alive today in their old age, who are not divorced, who have kids, who have went to universities and became something and built something from themselves, who have become members of the society, who are efficient and effective and who provide solutions. Like, this is what I'm talking about. So now you have to study these people, who they are in character. They are not these marshmallow Danone eating men that are sold on TV. No, these are men that have, listen, these are men that have gone through the apartheid system. They should be traumatized. They should be heavy. They should be dying in numbers. But these are the ones who are refusing even to kill themselves, because they know to be a man is to suffer and to overcome and to be hard, so that you can prepare yourself for the next fight, because that's what life is. You don't rest. So now, because we have microwave success mentality that turns men soft, because they want things now, they don't understand that for you to be able to become the man that you want to become, you must face adversity and difficulty. How do you face adversity and difficulty? First of all, you must equip yourself with information so that you can be competent and confident in articulating yourself in such a way that you can be able to, to take on a situation one-on-one, and no matter how long it takes, make sure that you come on top of the situation alive and well, without issues, health issues, mental issues. Because now it is encouraged that people, I don't know, they listen. Many of our parents, some of them, they did not even know. They did not know their parents, who their fathers are. They took responsibility and built themselves up for them to qualify to be married to our mothers. Our mothers had to see something in them, and they saw men. They didn't see, they saw men. Listen, if anybody should be complaining about depression, it should be people who were who were alive in the apartheid era. It's unfortunate. Some of them died, but some of them are still here. And with them, some of them, obviously, we can see the repercussions, because some have become drunkards because they couldn't handle the trauma that came with it. But they're still alive. There are many people here on social media with successful parents who have built monumental empires, and they are taking over what their parents have built, and their parents have equipped them to become the type of men or women who will be capable and competent enough to take over the business that they built carry them over to the next generation. So these are the people that you are talking about. So now you want to ask to sit, they want men to be soft so that they can line up with their agendas. You know how they started us with men, or how they started us. They started us with, introducing maybe color pink, pink shirts. They want to see the reaction, And we reacted, we wore it. I had a pink shirt when I was growing up. It was fashionable. Men are wearing pink now. But these are mechanisms to sort of try to introduce. Now, men are wearing gumkelela, these shoes. I know when high heels initially, when it started, it was worn by men, not women, initially. But now there's been progress. And obviously, I think at some point it was viewed properly and observed like that. Nah, actually, high heels suit women. Now, I don't know what happened, but the fashion changed. But now you have men wearing these high heels. High heel shoes with a pink shirt, tight pants. So it's an indoctrination to a certain level for people to, to get used to certain ideas, even though they may not become maybe gay themselves, but because they have feminized us to a certain level, will be accepting of some behaviors, because now we are wearing the pink shirts, the tight pants, the high heel shoes. So now this is why women are wondering where the men are. Now I'm telling you, this is where the men are. This is where they are disappearing to. They are disappearing not from the face of the earth. No, they are disappearing behind, and they are dissolved by ideals of other people who have their own agendas. This is where the men are disappearing to. So when you talk of these rhetorics that I'm engaging, you are whatever they call you, homophobe, whatnot, but it is what it is. And as I said, these are the things that I'm observing, and I'm coming to a conclusion that we are at where we are because of this and this. And I could be wrong. That's the beauty of it. I could be wrong, and I suspect I'm not wrong on a deeper level, but I could be wrong. Hence I'm saying I am taking a risk, putting myself out there so that what I'm saying can be heard. And listen, if I was talking to you with a notepad and notes, well, it is good, it is fine, but I won't achieve anything monumental, because I would be staying in a lane, and talking in a manner that everybody would agree with me. Then I wouldn't have learned anything about myself, and I would have voiced out the things that need to be talked about, and I wouldn't be questioned or possibly ridiculed, So that is part of the beauty of all these things, putting myself there and just making it known that women are losing men to these kinds of rhetorics, behaviors, ideas, ideals. This is where the women are, the men are disappearing to. And when you do an interview with a man, the points that I've made, I've penned out, I've laid out, make a thorough thesis of them, and try to see, you as a woman, what would you be comfortable with with a man who does not know how to solve issues by means of communication, who is not, and not necessarily powerful, but competence is something. This is why I appreciate people like Jordan Peterson. One of the things that you want, a person may be powerful, but that does not make them competent. So that's one of the things that, again, women should be looking at. Yeah, You want powerful people, fine, but all that power, if it's misplaced, it could backfire, and you could get the wrong end of the stick. So as much as you want a powerful man, you need a man who is competent. Competency means that you get things done efficiently, effectively. No excuses. That is competence. Power means that you have the ability. Power is ability. Potential. That is power. What you do with it is competence. We will see what you do with the power, if you're competent or not. So what is the use of having a person who is loaded? I'm talking about money now, but he's incompetent. He doesn't even know how to talk to you. He doesn't know how you think. You have to remind him of some things that you shouldn't be even talking about. He does not know how to read your love language. These are skills that you need a man to have, because you don't. But that's the question. How would you feel? So these are the things that you need to look at when you're looking for competency. Being able to communicate. Thinking about things critically. Appreciating the art of putting together information and knowing and applying. Wealth creation method, or he must be putting together some sort of I don't know, ways to create wealth. So this will require a person who thinks on his feet, because now, number one, that means if he's creating wealth, it's not for himself only. Men think generationally, so you don't want a selfish man. I think I've got a little bit longer than I was supposed to. So guys, thank you for your time. Tomorrow is Friday. It is our last session for the week. So we will do another episode tomorrow, and we are still on the series of how a woman should interview a man. It's a series that you're gonna do obviously throughout the month of August. We're gonna compile obviously as much as we need to. Whoever needs the information, just inbox. You'll be able to compile and but I would prefer that you wait until the end of the month, until the series is complete, so that we are able to make a collection that we'll be able to distribute, because these are fundamental things that, when understood on a molecular level, that we can bring up men who take care of society, and who build credible homes, so that we don't have single parenthood phenomena, because that is very destructive. So part of what I am trying to do here is to build families, so that, because the one thing that disturbs me is this single parenthood, and particularly single motherhood phenomena, and it becomes a lifestyle. People prefer to be single, like it's a preference. It is damaging to the children, and obviously it's gonna leak to the community level, explode to the national level, and become a catastrophe in the world. This is why we are faced with the issues that we are faced with now. because these things are being promoted and are being rewarded. So here with this series of how a woman should interview a man on this show or on the program My Observation, we are currently trying to build the family up to a point where the society is functional, and by functional I mean it is progressive. We don't worry about petty things. We are busy building, because as black people we are trailing behind with other ethnicities. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to think in terms of ethnicities, because now we are not economically balanced. So until we come to a level where we are equal economically, we will have earned the respect, because that's what people respect: monetary power, economical muscle. That's what gets things done. So we will be seen as equals. Only then will we start talking about a human race, because now we are talking from a level of equality. As long as us as black people, we cannot talk about so we have to fix the primary thing, which is the family. And even the family is a step further, but now because of what we are doing, we are trying to get our women to identify long-term partners, so that they can build solid families, solid foundation, so that they can be an example to those who are coming after. This is how it's done. This is what we're trying to do. So for that matter, we're trying to focus on the family. As obviously the program progresses, we're gonna focus on things like the individual, because obviously the family is made up of individual. So as a person, as an individual, you must possess certain attributes that makes you strong and functional and a progressive and impactful member of society. I think that's what we want, because now if a family produces a functional member of society, that is one less person to worry about. So this is basically the ideal. So obviously we're gonna need a lot of assistance in spreading the idea, sharing of the content, so that we can get to a point where it's not gonna be done today, that is for sure, but the little that we can do can multiply, to be something momentous, something monumental. So little by little, bit by bit, we take steps that will take us forward. Guys, from my observation, me to you, we thank you for the day. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for your time. See you tomorrow.